The NBA trade deadline's just over a week away, and the Celtics could be buyers, or at least that's what Zach Lowe said on his latest podcast, saying that the word is out, the Celtics are buyers at the deadline. I think that when you look at the way they've been playing this season, that makes sense. You want to kind of round out the rotation ready for the postseason. Could Jason Tatum be back? That's another question that we need to answer. And then we've got everything going on with Jimmy Butler's ACL injury and how that could change the entire landscape of what this trade deadline is going to look at. I'm your boy, Adam Taylor. I've been covering the Celtics for around about 10 years. Currently, you can find me over with USA Today, Heavy.com, and the Celtics Chronicle newsletter. Links in the description below. I'm joined by my homie, compadre, co-host in crime, Mr. Billy Calabrese. What's poppin', Billy?
What's going on, everybody?
So I want to start with a opinion that Bob Ryan put out there, right? An opinion that Brian Rubb put out there on Mass Live. And this was very much what could the Celtics do to take advantage of if the Warriors now are trying to move on from Jimmy or just trying to pivot towards finding somebody that's going to be able to make a difference for them after Jimmy's injury, because clearly they were on the up and up. They'd won a bunch of games in a row. It looked like they were finally figuring things out as we were getting to the midway point of the season. And Rob pointed out, I'm going to read this here, could the Celtics make a run at bringing Horford back for a third time if the Warriors make him available? His $5.6 million salary makes a trade workable without taking too much away from the current roster. Adding the payroll would be pricey, given the repeat attacks, but there's certainly no better low-cost big man option available in the next few weeks. Look, I'm very nostalgic when it comes to Al Horford. I think that he just knows the Celtics through and through. He left because he didn't think there'd be a contending team this year, and that's not really been the case. He hasn't exactly lit the world on fire over in Golden State. Coming back to Boston, he'd have a role that he already knows. He'd be around players that he feels comfortable with, and he gets to, sail off into the sunset in a Celtics jersey. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Warriors are going to weaken their big man depth when they still need another big man. I think that's like one of the glaring issues there. Even before Jimmy went down, Golden State just looked like they needed more size. Now they need more size and they need a forward. Depending on which way they kind of lean at the trade deadline, could Boston get involved as like a third team, try and bring Al back? Is it worth bringing Al back when you're looking at the production of Nemi and Luka Garza? Where are you standing on this, Billy?
I mean, nobody's bigger in the Al Horford fan club than me. I love Big Al. I mean, he is going to be remembered forever. The banner will hang forever. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I know that's kind of a borderline argument, but I think when you realize it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame, that he is going to get in because he's got 2 college titles and he's got 1 NBA title and counting. Who knows how these last couple of years are going to go for him. But honestly, these kind of trades, fans love them because it's the name that they know, but they don't really happen in the NBA. He chose to go to Golden State. It just looks like bad business if they just like kind of dump him off. I mean, if he wants to come back to Boston and they're doing him a solid, maybe that's better business, but it's just not the kind of thing you see in the NBA. And also, he wanted to play with Steph Curry. Curry's having an all NBA season. There's no way that they punt on this season. They're going to try to get something for Jimmy. They're going to try to find a way to get rid of Kuminga finally, even though Mike Dunleavy's comments today were pretty interesting about that. But, I mean, there's just no way they punt. I just don't see it.
I can't see why they would move off from Horford. I really can't. I mean, look, there'd have to be somebody coming back in return that's going to make it worthwhile. And I'm not on the trade machine as you're talking right now. And when I'm looking at who the Celtics could give up to make this make sense, it's kind of difficult, right? Because Horford's making $5.6 million this year. The Celtics don't really have anyone in that direct range to salary match. Maybe you try and package like a Chris Boucher and a Josh Minott to bring Horford back. That would get you close enough. I mean, the Celtics could also, if they wanted to, they could use some of their TPE to bring Horford in. That's an opportunity for them. They do have a $22.5 million traded player exception that they could kind of eat a chunk out of to bring Horford back that way. But again, it's like, and they have the open roster spot as well. So if they wanted to, they could straight up just do a Chris Boucher and see whether Golden State's looking to shave $3 million off their salary. I just don't see how the Warriors can viably look to move on from Horford when they lose a veteran in Jimmy. And they're, as you say, the whole idea in Golden State right now is that they try and build a championship team around Steph. Removing somebody like Horford that's championship DNA through and through, just in the way that he approaches the game, the way he approaches like his body and staying ready. I just don't see. I really don't. I'd love to see Horford back in Boston, but it feels like the Celtics made a very conscious move to get younger, to get more versatile, to be able to play at a higher pace. And unfortunately, at his age right now, Horford just doesn't really fit into that mold. He's 39 already. You're trying to get younger. You don't bring a guy in that almost like, imagine how much his age would drag the average age of the team up. And I know that doesn't really make a difference. But when you're trying to get younger and you're trying to rebuild, I just think going back to that same well for a third time makes it look like you're kind of out of ideas.
Yeah, let's just talk about it basketball wise. We've kind of moved on the way we play. I just don't see where he would fit in. I think they do need a third big. Don't get me wrong, like the Tillman, Boucher, whatever else. I mean, it sucks that Minot got hurt because I love that small ball five with Minot, but there's no question that even if Nini's still going to be the starter, we need a third big. I just don't think it will be somebody like that. It has to be somebody with legs, man. It has to be somebody with, rim running, somebody that gives you something that just Al does not at this point in his career.
Yeah, like how are you going to use him offensively when you're trying to play the pace that we've seen them play at times? Now, it hasn't always been super fast, but there are games where they've really looked to push the tempo and they've really looked to muck things up. And unless you're running Al Horford as a trailer, where he's kind of last up the floor, you've already drove the ball, you're kicking it out to him for a shot off the catch above the break. I don't see where the value is for him there. I just don't understand how you can be viably looking at a 39-year-old that has shown significant signs of age-related decline since moving to Golden State and being like, this dude is the dude we need. Could he get you over the hump? I think that his positional awareness, his ability to kind of control the angle on defense and use the angles to his advantage to kind of negate some of that lack of athleticism at his age, I think that can all help. I think his leadership would play a big role, his ability to help some of these younger guys. He was instrumental in the development of some of the young guys when he first came, like Jalen, Jason, blah, blah, blah. I think he could do that again. And there's a world where you're bringing him back, but you're not bringing him back to be a key role player. You're bringing him back to be a key veteran. But again, I think that, and this was always my pushback when people wanted IT back during like the last couple of years when they were like, oh, we'll just bring IT back and put him on the end of the bench. I'm like, the dude has a legacy in Boston right now. Horford has a legacy too. Do you really want to bring him back and not play him many minutes? The team's moved on. It's a completely different style of play. If they do bring him back, I'll be absolutely ecstatic. But just in terms of getting younger, evolving, looking for optionality, guys that play multiple positions that you can lock down for multiple years. And we know that Brad Stevens favors continuity. For those reasons, I just don't see. Although I'd like it, I think it would actually be a step backwards in whatever this blueprint currently is.
Yeah, that's where I'm totally leaning as well. Obviously, we agree. I don't see Brad, if he's being a buyer at this deadline, his move is going to be heck of a lot bigger than Al Horford coming back to play like a Udonis Haslam kind of role with Miami, like Haslam's done for like the last 4 or 5 years before he retired. I don't think that like ceremonial kind of position. It just doesn't feel like a Brad Stevens move. Now he could do that on top of something else, but if he's a buyer, like if we really are going for it this year, it's got to be a bigger name than Al Horford. No offense to Al.
Yeah, I'm looking at like, and the problem is, if it's a bigger name than Al Horford, then you can take out Day'Ron Sharpe, you can take out Yves Missy, all of these like buy low analytical darling bigs. You can remove them from the equation because, as Rob said, if you're looking at a low cost big, they don't come much better and much more seasoned than Al Horford. And if that's exactly what the Celtics are looking for, a low cost big, and look, we're talking under the assumption that Golden State would even make a deal involving Horford. If they didn't, then obviously I'd prefer Day'Ron Sharpe. I'd go down that way. I know you're a fan of Day'Ron, but I know you also like Yves Missy. I don't care which way you go after one of those guys. They're younger, they give you more long term. But if you are going bigger, now we're looking at the Nick Claxtons, now we're looking at the Zubac, potentially a Jaren Jackson Jr., and that's assuming they even want to strengthen that position on the floor. We could be looking at the completely wrong side of the court. As Keith Smith said when he was on the episode the other day, the Celtics predominantly don't get leaked. Like trade talks don't really surface. Brad Stevens is like moving silence. So for that reason and that reason alone, it's really hard to predict if it's a big man they're after. It's really hard to predict what talks they're having and with what teams. But if it's a buyer's market, then Horford is probably, as horrible as this is to say, but at 39, I think it's fair. He's probably a bit too small of a fish.
Yeah, and honestly, the crazy thing could be like, especially if we're trading Simons, it probably is going to be a guard. I mean, people really don't want that because, I mean, we're obsessed with bigs. We always say the Celtics need a big. I mean, that's something I've been hearing for 10 years, but it's never really, the numbers don't say we do. I mean, even the Detroit game, we dominated them on the boards. That wasn't the problem. We can make free throws. We win that game. I mean, there's a lot of reasons we've lost games this year. Our bigs haven't been the reason.
If it was a guard, who would you be looking at? Like, because Ja Morant needs to stay the hell away from Boston. And I think that one thing you can really credit the Celtics with is they highly value work ethic and character. And I just don't think they'd look at Ja and be like, he fits the ethos of this team. He fits the way we're trying to play. Yes, he can be a star. And yes, he could elevate you at times. But I think that the baggage he comes with is not an area that the Celtics would be willing to explore. But then it's like, well, what guards are available that they could realistically go for that would make sense? Right. Like, all I've ever done is looked at bigs this year because, and I've said this will be the 5th podcast I've done straight, and people are going to be sick of me saying this, but I've said this consistently. I do not see Nemi as a big man that can dominate like for a championship level team. I see him as he'd be an elite first big off the bench on a championship level team. I'm just not sold that he's a championship level starting 5. And if he's not, and everybody on the team views him that way, and I don't know whether that's true or not, but if they do, and they're like, Nemi isn't the guy that gets you to a banner, then you upgrade it to 5. And even now in the summer, next trade, I don't care when you do it, but that's what type of trade you make. But if you're a buyer, like, who'd you go for at the guard position? Do you go for?
I'm looking at AO.
Is that really like a swing? Like AO makes perfect sense in terms of replacing Anthony Simons and giving you a little bit more defensive stability along with some scoring, but you lose that kind of flamethrower. But we just said that if they're buyers, they're going to be taking a swing. And AO isn't a guy that I consider to be a swing. He's a guy I consider to be an Al Horford type plug-in with upside.
Yeah, I'm kind of racking my head on that too. Keep looking at the Kings. I'm looking at Murray. I'm looking at Monk. I'm looking at guys like that. But the thing is, like, the Inferno is real. Like, are they even an upgrade over Simons?
No, I don't think so. The problem I've got is, though, it's like, who is an upgrade? This is where I'm kind of looking at now. Like, as we're talking, I'm literally iterating through trade ideas on the trade machine just to see if I can make anything like work, right? Because I don't want to be giving up Simons and Hauser in a deal. And like you said, it's finding an upgrade. And I'm very keen not to lean into like, oh, well, Simons is playing well, so he's untradeable, or Simons is the best backup guard in the league. I mean, at the minute, his numbers are looking that way. What is he second amongst? The NBA is ranking him second amongst guards in total points off the bench this year. Interestingly, they're classifying Jaime Jaquez as a guard in that scenario. So
that makes no sense.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, as far as I'm concerned, no point guard off the bench has scored more points than Anthony Simons this year. And Celtics fans are very used to this. Like, we could be looking at the 3rd Sixth Man of the Year award going to Boston in the last 4 years. Got Malcolm Brogdon, Peyton Pritchard, and then it could end up going to Anthony, right? But at the same time, if you're looking for like a big swing, it's going to have to be Simons plus a guy. And is it Simons plus Pritchard? Is it Simons plus Hauser? These are the difficulties that a team's facing, right? And it's just, how do you make it work? Now, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a big swing. I'm just like, if you're buyers, that to me tells me it's going to be more than an ancillary trade.
Yeah, because you could trade for Sharp, you could trade for these Missy, you could trade for these guys and actually be sellers because you're going to end up saving money by trading for these guys. So I don't consider, like, as much as I like Sharp and I think he's actually even better than Kata, and I consider that an upgrade, I don't consider that a buyer trade. So when I hear the word buyer, it's a different it's a different mindset for me.
Yeah, and maybe we're wrong. Look, buyers just means that you're purchasing. So maybe we're reading into that wrong. Maybe it will be, hey, we're buyers because we're making multiple ancillary moves. We're picking up a Dayron Sharp. We're going to go and pick up an AO Dasumu. Like, if you buy a couple of these smaller guys, guess what? You are still technically buyers at the trade deadline. You're adding rather than subtracting. But it does have the connotation of, hey, we're looking to make a swing. And it's just, what position are you looking to do that? You look around the league at guys that are rumored to be like on the trade block, and it's like, I don't see how any of them really fit Boston too great in terms of, I understand, like, hey, LaMelo Ball's on the trade block, reportedly. Okay, LaMelo Ball is a great player. Does he fit what the Celtics want to do? Well, he can play fast, he can pass, he can shoot. He's just never healthy. And are you willing to go and lose Anthony Simons and the additional draft stock to then bring in a LaMelo Ball? Probably not, right? Because of everything that comes with that. So you take him off the block. Then you're looking at Karl Anthony Towns. Now, this is I've really considered this over the last 24 hours in terms of the impact that Porzingis had by being able to space the floor and being able to score across all three levels. Towns is reportedly being considered for a trade. If you look at some of the reporting coming out of the Knicks franchise the last 24, 48 hours, they might be open to moving on from Karl Anthony Towns. Now, is that somebody that you'd try and buy on?
Doesn't that put us in the same problem, though? He doesn't want to play the five. So it's like you still need your fives next to him. And I mean, I think we would have to facilitate a trade. I mean, maybe we could end up with Towns, but a third team would have to be in to give the Knicks what they want, because I don't see us having anything the Knicks would want in this scenario.
Me neither. And this has kind of been where the difficulty is. But I'm like, when you say buyer, like I'm saying, buyer comes with connotations, then I start looking at these bigger names. In truth, we are looking at like a Dayron. We are looking at an Ayo Dosunmu. But the connotation that comes with it, I'm like, oh, this star player is available. The Celtics are going to be buyers. Let me go and have a look. And I do think that Towns could be a guy that Boston would look at, but it's just not working in New York right now. I think that Mike Brown's system doesn't fit him. I just don't know whether Joe Mazzulla's would. And like you said, maybe he's going to want to continue to play the five. Maybe you go super big and go Nemi, Towns, Tatum, Brown, White as your starting for. I mean, that's ferocious. Like,
That's really big.
yeah. And it's also incredibly skilled as well. Like, it's not big and clunky, it's big and skilled. I'm just not sure Boston would do that, right? New York could definitely want someone like a Hugo Gonzalez as part of that deal. They're going to want draft assets. They're going to want probably Sam Hauser, Simons, and a bunch of picks as well. It's not a deal I'd feel comfortable making. But again, once you add that buyer label, the connotations that come with it makes you start to be like, oh, okay, maybe it's going to be a star level move. Although reality is it's not, or it's unlikely to be.
Yeah, and the name that hasn't come up yet, which is kind of surprising because he's back, is I was thinking Sabonis. Like, why doesn't that name come up again? Because nobody knows what the hell the Kings are doing. I mean, that's the guy you at least make a phone call.
Interestingly, I know that I've spoke to a few people and like, oh, but Sabonis is like not a great defender. And I'm like, I get that. But I'm pretty sure he was in the running for an all defensive team like 2 of the last 3 years. I'm pretty sure he finished top 10 in MVP voting for 2 of the last 3 seasons. I'm pretty sure that when you're running a fast-paced offense, you want a guy that can offer a DHO hub on the elbows. You want a guy that's more playmaker than like play finisher to be able to execute with. What I'm getting at is I'd actually like to see how Sabonis worked alongside Tatum and Brown. I do think that there'd be some serious defensive concerns in the postseason, and I'm not sure how you build around that long term to be a viable defensive unit. But at the same time, I actually think he's quite a realistic trade target. I think that you probably have the assets you need to go and pry him away. Scott Perry seems very keen on just becoming a draft feeding team for the next few years and rebuilding a team in his image. And Sabonis has had a few good years in Sacramento. This year's not being great, but his first 2 years under Mike Brown there were really, really strong. I wouldn't be against it, but it'd have to be a package that made sense.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of somebody that's not being mentioned that is a big name, because that would be considered a buy. And then the other way to do it would be like, man, if the Knicks really do want AD, the way you do it is, have us involved. We'll give the picks and the young guys to Dallas. They can send AD there and then send Cat to us. But that's the only really way I kind of see something like that happening. But I mean,
just to correct myself, Sabonis was never an all defensive team guy. He was top 10 in defensive player of the year voting in 2023, 2024. So a guy that was terrible at defense supposedly was a top 10 defensive player of the year candidate a season and a half ago. He's also been an all-NBA team selection twice on the third team. He was finished 8th in MVP voting in 2023, 2024, finished 7th in MVP voting in 2022, 2023. So, and he's a 3-time All-Star. So when you look at it from just in terms of accolades, it's like, hey, you don't become a defensive player of the year candidate if you're not playing high level defense. And my point being is maybe he's not a great defender all of the time, but he clearly, if utilized correctly, can be an impactful defender. Sorry, I'll let you continue. I do apologize.
No, I love that, because honestly, it reminds me of kind of like the Lakers when they got Pau Gasol. All these things he's not, and then all the things he became afterwards. You can look at Pau's career as before the Lakers and post the Lakers, and he became two completely different kinds of players because of the system, winning, being on a winning franchise, a winning team, actually being coached well. So I do think Sabonis has the possibility for that leap, because Gasol went from a very good player to a Hall of Famer just in a couple years. And I think Sabonis could do the same with the Jays.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a deal that I'd be worth exploring. I'm literally back on the trade. I mean, I hate talking trades because it's just not my forte. I'm not a cap guy. I've spent years trying to be the X's and O's guy. I'm trying to pivot away from that a bit more nowadays, as people who follow the newsletter, links in the description, would know. While you're here, if you've made it this far, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm just looking at okay, so Sabonis is earning 42.3 mil. So a deal for Sabonis would take Anthony Simons. It would definitely take Sam Hauser. You'd have to add Sam Hauser in there. And then you're probably having to float in let's say, Josh Minor. And even then, you're still falling short. So it needs to involve maybe Keon Ellis coming back via a TPE. But you can't do that because there's players going out, so it'll be via Boston. And then maybe... See, it gets really difficult in trying to round it out, right? Chris Boucher would need to be there. It's basically what I'm getting at is it's hard. You might need a third team to make the money work. It consistently seems to fail. You need to send out 5 for 2. Then those never happen. Yeah, you need to add a third team in here and sweeten the pot with a draft pick or whatever. But at the same time, Sabonis has got another 2 years on his contract after this season. So he's cost controlled in the terms of you have control, but he is expensive. And my pushback on adding any borderline max to borderline super max dude is it becomes very, very difficult then to round out the roster outside of the guys you already have. So the good thing about the Celtics is their key guys, the Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Jason, Jalen, Derek, they're all on multi-year deals, so it's fine. But it becomes difficult to round out the end of the rotation. So you are hoping to try and re-sign someone like a Luka Garza, re-sign someone like a Josh Minor, pick up the team option on Jordan Walsh for next season. These are going to be aspects that the Celtics would have to do because they'd become top heavy. Now, somebody else before I jumped back in, who was you talking about again? You had somebody else in mind as well.
Which as a big man or as a guard? I'm sorry.
I kind of jumped back in when you were talking about someone. When I jumped in with Sabonis' details.
Oh no, I was just saying how to facilitate a cat trade. Obviously they don't want nothing from us, but we have stuff Dallas would definitely want. Young guys and picks, and then that's how AD can get to New York, and supposedly everybody will be happy because for some reason, New York just loves collecting those Kentucky former players.
And injury concerns. They just love collecting dudes that aren't going to make them win. I don't see how AD fits well for them. I don't see, and this is kind of like a concern that I have in general for a lot of contending teams, is like, don't pick up a guy that might not be available this year. If you're trading Towns for AD and AD is not playing until at least like the second round of the postseason just because of the injury and the surgery, I know that's kind of been pushed back now. They're saying that he won't need surgery and he might be back earlier and whatever it may be. We don't fully know. But my point being is, if AD is off the court for most of the time and you've traded Towns, you're going to be a lower seed. And because you're a lower seed, you face a tougher battle to get deeper into the postseason. I don't know why the Knicks would do that. I really don't. I think if they're trading Towns, they're trading him for people they believe can make a difference right now. And as much as they will probably believe Davis can make a difference, it's not going to be immediate because he's dealing with injuries. The dude has played under 30 games over the last 12 months. Let's just put that out there. He was traded around about this time last year, right? It was at the trade deadline night, the night before the trade deadline. So, like, okay, we're a week away. So 51 weeks he's been in Dallas and he's played under 30 games. Why on earth are you trading arguably the second or third most offensively talented center in the NBA to bring in Anthony Davis? You're not. The same way the Celtics wouldn't trade Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to make that happen. You don't trade a talent that's consistently available, that's one of the best in their position, for a dude that's played 30 games in the last 12 months. For me, that's ridiculous. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
And I know we're not a Knicks podcast. We're not a Knicks show. We're not a Knicks YouTube channel, but I have a lot of Knicks fans in my life. Guys, can we really address the elephant in the room? You've tried all these different rosters, and there's been one tangent. It's been Jalen Brunson. And Becky Hammon, you guys crucified her for saying that you can't win a championship if that's your best player. But at some point, the defense is never right because you have Jalen Brunson there, who's a traffic cone. It's all the same thing. Even if you get AD, your defense isn't going to be better because you have that traffic cone in the front.
Not like the Celtics. Celtics don't have that problem because Celtics have Derek White, and Derek White is a god. Just putting it out there. I'm just pulling it out there. Right, I want to move on. I think we spent a bit longer than what we should have talking trades, and we've probably put a bunch of names in there that make no sense. People are going to crucify us. But you know what? It's silly season. We're embracing it. I know you sent me, and this, I'm going to wrap with this. We can keep it pretty short. Jaylen Brown is having an amazing season. Let's create the caveat right there. He's an MVP candidate. He's an all-star starter, led the all-star voting in media votes, has been absolutely exceptional as the lead scorer for the Celtics this year. However, there's a glaring issue that nobody's talking about that, Billy, you kind of pointed out to me yesterday when it got posted onto socials, and that's the fact that Jaylen Brown is one of the worst in the league at clutch free throws. He's taken 17 clutch free throws this season so far, and is shooting 58.8%. And some of them have been directly correlated to a loss or to the Celtics losing. The other guys in this area, just to give you a feel for who else is struggling: Paolo Banchero, Alperen Sengun. Who else is there? Donovan Clingan, Pascal Siakam, Victor Wembanyama, Giannis, Chet, and Jamal Murray. So I'm going on a limb and saying, like, hey, there's some very good guys there, but Brown has one of the worst, if not the worst. In fact, the only guy with worse clutch free throw shooting than Brown on comparable numbers is Donovan Clingan. Brown shooting 58.8% on 17 attempts, Clingan shooting 46.7% on 15 attempts. That's bad. I think it's a glaring issue that they need to address. Obviously, Brown has never been like a knockdown free throw shooter throughout his career. It's like 70-something%, right? Like it's solid, but it's not elite. And I know you've kind of been like, hey, this is an elephant in the room. We need to talk about it. So I'm kind of going to just pass the mic over to you and let you kind of get it off your chest.
Yeah, it really bugs me because we have a Celtics group chat. And honestly, Jalen has improved his free throws during the game. He's much better. But if it's like the last 5 minutes, and especially in like the last minute or 2 minutes, we have a running joke. We always just text 1 for 2, because we just know that he's not going to make both. Or in the situation like happened in Detroit, he missed them both. And it's just something, it's not his form, it's not his shot. It's definitely just something mental at the end of these games, maybe he just doesn't have the legs. There's something there where at the end of these games, man, that moment just gets a little too big. And it happens to a lot of guys. Like there's guys that just aren't clutch. I understand that. That's also why we have Tatum. Tatum has more clutch field goals than any player in the league since he's entered the league. So I get that. Jalen just might not be Tatum, but you can't have a liability taking these big shots. And even when Tatum comes back, Jalen's still going to take big shots. He's still going to get fouled. He's still going to get to the line. So it's just something that we have to address. It's not a knock on Jalen. We're not, saying he sucks. We're not, killing the guy. It's just, man, at the end of games, I just never feel good when he's at the line.
It's turning into like a hacker Brown strategy. If you're down 2, if you're up 2 and the Celtics coming downhill, they're going to feed it to Brown right now because he's there. Like clutch scoring in general, like if it's an open game shot, if it's just happening in the flow of the offense, I feel very comfortable, very confident, and comfortable mixed together is now comfortable. I feel very comfortable with Jaylen Brown operating in the open floor in the clutch. I think that, if he can get to a spot in the mid-range, if he can get downhill to the rim, he's going to be very capable of closing out a game. And I've never got a major concern. But when he's at the line, you do start to think to yourself like, oh, okay, this could be a problem. He's not exactly the most consistent free throw shooter. Do I think it's going to be a major issue? I think in the postseason it could be in close games. I think that you're still going to be leaning on, whether Tatum comes back or not, I'm expecting the Celtics to lean on Brown heavily for the remainder of this year to allow Tatum to kind of ease himself back in. I feel like the processing speed will be there for Tatum before anything, so he'll probably be leaning into a playmaking role first and foremost. That means that Brown will continue to be the spearhead, the tip of the spear. And if teams are down up 3, up 2, or the Celtics are down 4 and they're looking for a go-ahead bucket with a minute left on the clock, it's going to make a lot of sense to just foul Jaylen Brown because the numbers tell you that there's a chance he's going to go 1 or 2, and a 4-point possession is now a 3-point possession. You look to get a stop, you look to get a run out, whatever it is. There's a concern there that I think needs addressing. I just don't know how you address it because every other aspect of his game has been exceptional this year.
And you know what? He's taken it like very personally whenever he is criticized, like the left hand thing, which a lot of it was unfair. Maybe some of it was justified because of the turnovers, whatever your side on that argument is. But I just think we need to at least talk about the free throw thing, acknowledge that it exists, because you can't fix a problem unless you acknowledge that it's there.
I'm down with that. I want to get everybody else's take on this. So if you've made it this far, definitely leave a comment on whether or not you think Jalen's free throw shooting in the clutch, and specifically the clutch, only the clutch, all the clutch, nothing but the clutch, is a problem. Or whether you're like, we can live with it. There's going to be other ways. I think there needs to be an honest discussion here where we're like, yeah, it could be an issue. Regular season, whatever, like you're still figuring things out. But if it continues much longer, maybe the Celtics need to find a way of getting somebody else to the line down late in the game. Maybe Peyton Pritchard, maybe Derek White. I'd feel more comfortable with Pritchard than anybody else when it comes to making a big time shot, just because the dude's a hooper. And I'm not saying Jaylen Brown's not. I just think Pritchard would. I don't know, maybe he'd drink some of that Mike Special stuff before getting on the court. You know how it goes. Space Jam reference when I didn't get it. With that being said, everybody make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, leave a comment, do all that good juicy stuff. Show me and Billy some love. We have a preview pod coming out late. It was one out already with Alex Golden from the who covers the Pacers, ready for Wednesday's game against Indiana. There's also one scheduled for Friday ahead of the Brooklyn Nets game. We'll be back on Thursday with some takes as well. Right now, though, I just want to say to everybody, enjoy the day, enjoy tonight's game, and deuces.